But a little introduction lang din on what spoken word poetry is. It's a marriage of written poetry and theater. So it's when you incorporate page poetry with a little bit of pizzazz, I guess, where you have the capacity to be able to alter what the message of your piece is every time you perform it. So the same piece can be very sad at one performance and be very happy in another performance, depending on the kind of message that you wanna portray. So for tonight, I think I'm performing like maybe 2 or 3 pieces. I'm not really a love poet din pala. And well, it's very different. Like if you read the transcript of what I write, hindi sila yung tipong, oh, poetry, may rhyme, may tugma, etc., etc. It's more liberated than that because it's freer and whatnot. Yung unang tula ko ay, well, ang unang pyesa ko, I call it, it's one of my oldest pieces. It's the second piece I've ever written. I call it War Memorabilia. And it's about how we tend to ascribe our pain and our heartache to certain things that we find in the household. So I hope you like it. I dream of building a house one day with a white picket fence and a front porch facing the sunset. Inside it, a display, a fine collection of war memorabilia, a tale of survival rigorously examined like checking for pulse. There is no room for the weak. Only the strong ones that survived the war. An empty bullet, a helmet, my dad's barometer from Berlin, Anne Frank's uncles, cousins, best friends, neighbors, hairdressers, mailman's diary, anything that held its own in that battlefield. But battlefields come in many forms. Some wars happen along trails of landmines, others on the empty side of the bed. During honest conversations as to which ones leave deeper scars, we can never tell for sure. The first time I told you I love you, pause. But only as a friend, you gave me a sigh of relief. Good, you said. To you, it was a wedge splinter pulled from your skin, a load on the back, finally released. A sigh of relief. I didn't think a manifestation of something so good, something so relieving could sound much like a bullet through my lungs, cutting through muscle and ribcage, leaving me winded, blood gushing and gasping for air. A sigh of relief is a wisp of hot air forced out of the mouth, a ripple growing bigger and bigger, a tide, a tornado, a wreckage. To hear that sigh is to realize that we have already met the maximum potential of this thing, whatever this is that we share. A realization, an acceptance, a conclusion I didn't know would come crashing down, much like the waves that rippled from the very breath you gave birth to when you unleashed that sigh into this world. Sudden and devastating. We agreed the world wouldn't understand because this is like dubstep in the 50s. This is firecrackers to the blind, just meaningless noise, but maybe we hear symphonies and Frank Sinatra and Scarborough Fair by Simon and Garfunkel because fucking herbs have never sounded more beautiful. Maybe sometimes I don't understand too. Maybe I love you more than I'm willing to admit. Maybe I had to hear that sigh to know that maybe you are just as clueless. Because you were a firecracker too, and the scar on your chin is a crack opening to your soul, allowing the spectrum of colors within you to bleed out hues of blue and green into this otherwise black and white universe. And my favorite color was blue. Now I couldn't decide between blue and green. Perhaps I should just stick to orange, red, a kaleidoscope, because sometimes you make me feel like I'm not allowed to love your colors. Who could have warned me that telling you I love you, but only as a friend, was me going into war with only one bullet in a pistol, charging against your army of bazookas and hand grenades catapulted right at me by the whisper of your breath. Your sigh of relief was my sigh of resignation. Your sigh of relief was a lump in my throat. It meant you were thankful that our inclinations are anything but profound, romantic. It was you telling me that you loved me too. but only as a friend. This is a war I cannot win. But wars stop being about winning when both sides had bodies to bury. Winning isn't about coming home with your enemy's head clasped on your hand and the flag in another. Winning is about coming home in one piece and a beating heart. Sometimes the bullet can come from somebody you love. It can even come from a friend. Know that when they squeeze that trigger, it is not always meant to hurt you. So as I make my way back into the house I will build one day, I will remove my heart from my sleeve, examine it like checking for a pulse, hang it onto the wall next to all the rusted metal and memorabilia that survived the war, and to that heart I will say, you are one brave motherfucker. Hiya ako kasi hindi ito yung tipong crowd ko. Hiya ako kasi, feeling ko kasi, for a writer, you understand that, for example ako na medyo I have some awareness on what coding is like, or what web design is like, and I understand it's a language in its most essential form, di ba? Pero hindi ako fluent sa language na to, at feeling ko ang tanga-tanga ko in this room. I'm probably also the only jobless person here. So if you guys have rackets for me. Actually, game pala, if you want to talk to me later for racket, nasa Metro Manila ako hanggang December 23 at balik ko nasa January 11. So kayo mahiya na mag-offer sa akin ng trabaho at pera. Yung pangalawang beses ako, I think this is my last piece. Ayokong
Awkward boy.
No! Go? Okay, wait. Hindi ko kaya mo awkward boy dito, bes. Anyway, wala ko yun. Yung next piece ko ay tungkol sa mga nang-iwan. I feel like we as a society have a tendency to vilify those who have left us. So parang gusto natin yung tayong iniwan, yung pag nakwento natin sa mga kaibigan, tayo yung mas nagmahal, yung mas binigay ko lahat, tapos binaliwala niya, I'm a tortured soul, love me. Ganun, di ba? Tapos, I feel like this isn't necessarily the case all the time. I call this piece Heartbreakers. They call you a heartbreaker. And believe me, I'm glad I didn't listen. They must have misread you like a dusty old book with bad ink and missing pages somewhere between the way you plant soft kisses behind their ears and ignore every single one of their phone calls the next morning, somewhere between the way you laugh at all their jokes and refuse to hold their hands when they need you to, somewhere between telling them you love them and leaving your side of the bed empty by sunrise, somewhere. You were a walking warning signal. I was too naive to notice a warship with a giant red flag that launched at my feet I refused to wear an armor for. And besides, you answered my phone calls after every 2 rings. You held my hand when I reached out for yours. You stayed by my side until morning and even made me breakfast. Now tell me, who the hell am I to say no to that? My mama told me, you better leave your armor in the battlefield when the war is over, along with every other object that will only remind you of the smell of death. I have nothing to leave behind. And I swore I wasn't going to fall in love with you, but I swear they must have lied when they said God created you out of my rib. See, the day we met, I felt God's hand sink into my chest instead. I swear I wasn't going to fall in love with you. Believe me, but you keep running through my mind over and over and over, and I can't help but overthink if even then it is me you're running after. Or perhaps running from. I knew stars are easy on the eyes, but it takes a perfect aim to puncture through human flesh. Pull the trigger for every long pause, for every forced goodbye, for every love that is given and every love that is returned. Let the night be our bodies and the stars be our wounds on the brink of igniting. Let us ignite. You are my fatal accident, my favorite near-death experience. You are the kind of bad dream that leaves a lingering sensation in the spaces between my fingers, and I always wake up in the morning groping my bed sheets and search for nothing but your hands. You are the gust of wind outside and I am the fire pit. Or perhaps the candlestick, and we are one small window opening away from burning down this house. When all of this is over, You will continue to transcend beyond the waves and the current with ease, while I will cease to exist. Baby, you blew me away. They will walk past whatever is left of me, all hot, coal, and debris, and they will call it tragic. It isn't. They do not understand that nothing good was ever easy, that it takes a lot of hurting, a lot of fighting, and maybe even a lot of losing to fall in love. The way you can never spell ruins without you and I. The way you can never have human contact without friction and fire from then on. The way there will always be crashing and collision for every time the ocean persists to bring itself to the shoreline. And yet we turn ruins into landmarks. We create fire when it's dark and cold. We listen to the crashing sound of the waves, and baby, we call it music. Sometimes pain is necessary, and sometimes it is the only way we know that the love it comes with is real. That does not make this any less beautiful. Alright, pwede ako mag-third piece, pero hindi naman tungkol sa pag-ibig. Kasi, yung medyo purgang-purga na ako sa tulang to. Kasi ito yung laging piniprefer ko. Medyo standard piece ko kasi siya. Pero wait, just to be clear, allowed ako magmura ba dito? Go. Magmura. Okay. Pero ginawa ko na siya, no? Tapos ngayon pa ako mag-ask na permission. Parang yung mga nasasaktan na kita, parang okay lang ba? Okay pa ba? Pero ginagawa mo na. Pero etong piyesang to, hindi siya tungkol sa pag-ibig or siguro love for humanity na lang if gusto niyo siya i-contextualize sa kwentong pag-ibig. And I feel like this is also important for me to bring up in an event such as this because we have a lot of stereotypes going around, especially for people who work at places that are predominated by men. Na parang, oh, the tech department, the tech black hole. Like ako dati, nasa creative section ako ng kumpanya ko, ng startup na pinagtatrabuhan ko. Tapos may tech black hole na walang nakaka-penetrate kasi it's just a bunch of boys. Tawag namin sa programmers. At maraming at alam to ni Mark, bilang...
Hindi ka na ako ma-fire dahil sa...
Matik siya ma-fire dahil dyan. Pero there's a lot of stereotype going around about programmers or about men in general and how paano ba siya? Parang what people don't realize, I guess, ito na lang, introduction, the theme ng next na piece na to, or ng final piece ko ay patriarchy or yung the unfair mentality that we've instilled upon people that men are superior to women. Well, kanina pinakilala sa akin ni Mark, ang mother of Philippine Web Design. So parang, okay, as you can see, na parang in various aspects of our human experience, the men aren't necessarily superior over women. And one of the greatest manifestation of this is in the context of rape culture and how men tend to blame women for wearing a certain, kasi nagpa-sexy ka, kaya ka na hipuan sa bus, diba? So kasalanan to ng babae, when in truth, ang panghihipo itself should have been what's wrong in the first place.
Yeah.
So I call this piece, Boys Will Be Boys. Hindi ako magmamind kasi medyo pasigaw to. Okay. You don't want to see that. I was 5 years old when I touched a woman's inner thigh for the first time. I couldn't look her in the eye even when I was being told it was okay. I was 14 when I was made fun of for being a virgin. That I wasn't living up to what the men in my family have accomplished. I was 15 when I lost my virginity to a prostitute. I was meant to feel proud about it, to carry with me the smell of her as if it was a badge of honor. To this day, I still don't know her name. I was 18 when my cousin asked me why I didn't have a girlfriend. Why I looked like the kind who didn't even want a girlfriend, that if I was gay, I should just own up to it. The next day, I asked the quiet girl in my class to be my girlfriend. I never loved her.
I was 21 when I came across a friend sobbing, her face buried on the palms of her hands. She spoke to me in whispers about how the boy raped her, how nobody believed her, how even she stopped believing it was rape by virtue of her vodka and short skirt. And you know what they say, boys will be boys. We are the boys of the world, hardwired to believe that we are unstoppable creatures of the night who act based only on our natural hunger, insatiable, untamed, animalistic. We will whistle at your beautiful and dress it up as a compliment. We will turn your clothes into open invitations. We will buy you drinks and expect you undressed by midnight as if you owe it to us. So forgive me if I refuse to be reduced into a beast, to claw my fingers at the first sight of raw meat. They always glorify us for being strong. Tell me, where is the strength in preying on the defenseless? We put men in business suits, in black robes, behind a desk in a palace. Heck, we even put a bearded man in the sky, believing that we, boys, will grow up to be men, the wisest of them all. Tell me, where is the wisdom in our inability to understand that no means no? But no, you, woman, should have known better. Pick anything from a G-string to pink pajamas and it'll still be your fault. Take your whiskey, your scotch, your mother's milk, it doesn't matter. You are a woman and you have always been the one to blame ever since the first ultrasound result that said you will turn out to be a woman. As if to be an idle pedestrian crossing the street is as good as begging a drunk driver to run you over. As if to be a fish swimming in shallow waters during Lent is an invitation to be consumed. So to all the boys, fuck her, right? Fuck the prostitute, fuck the quiet girl in class, fuck the drunk girl in the short skirt, fuck the missionary, fuck her in missionary, fuck her wild like the beasts that they describe us to be. We are boys and weren't erased to believe that her entire existence is founded on a single piece of our rib. Fuck her like we are reclaiming ourselves. Boys will be boys. Now every morning, I wake up confronted by the reflection of a boy. And every morning I am reminded of exactly how dangerous I am, of how I am so very incapable of intruding into somebody else's house and take with me all its belongings as I leave the front door, of how I can swallow your no and hear nothing but a moaning yes, bypass your refusal, abandon you like a bile stain on a bathroom floor and be able to tell the world that you liked it too, that you asked for it. Because baby, I am blood, bruise and blisters, snow belt, buckles or boundary, all about the birds and the bees and a little bit of boredom, but mostly blame. I am a bachelor for you to desire, or a bartender spilling beer and bourbon down your throat, so baby, swallow me easy, or a Bible, so worship me, be my sacrificial lamb, my virgin conquest, bask in my bigoted, backward belief system, my bankruptcy of morality. I am a blade, swinging my sword, cutting you open like a battlefield. Boys will be boys, right? Most importantly, I am a boy made up of beard, balls, and bad omens, and you are my birthright, my bitch, my beautiful, bodacious bombshell. But when she erupts into a blaze so bright and destructive that people can't help but look away, do not let them erase our fingerprints from the pieces of her that remain. Do not let them sweep away our remnants from the carnage we have created from this grand explosion. She may be a bombshell, but we, boys, are the ones that pulled the trigger. It is never her fault.
Thank you sa invitation. Sana maganda yung intro. I mean, okay naman yung introduction ko.